Hi, I'm Arthur Atwell at Electric Bookworks, and I wanted to do a lightning quick demo on how to get a book up and running in the Electric Book template. Generally, the Electric Book template is for us at Electric Bookworks to make books for our clients, but occasionally other people want to use it to make their own books. This will just at least show you the bare minimum to getting started with our template for free online right now. Okay, let's go. So here I am at the Electric Book template website. I'll put this link in the show notes, and this is the website that the vanilla template generates out of the box. And I'm going to jump straight through to the open source repository on GitHub from this link here. So here we are on GitHub. This is the open source code for the Electric Book template, our code base for creating books that are simultaneously print books and websites. Right now, I'm just going to create a PDF version of the website and a web version of the website, a PDF version of a sample book and a web version of a book, so you can see how it works. So the first thing is here, I've got the Electric Book template. I want to create my own new repository that's based off it. Over on the right here, we've got to use this template button. I'm going to create a new repository. I'm going to create that. That is the template I'm using. I'm going to create it into my personal account. And I'm just going to call this a demo book. Oh, I've already got a demo book. Demo book today. Okay, I'm going to make that private for now. Create repository. Right now, it's making a copy of the entire Electric Book code base. It'll take a few seconds, and then it will be ready for me here in my GitHub account that only I can see. Okay, here we are. We've got it up and running. Now what I want to do is I want to open this code base in an editor so that I can actually add my own content. The way that we like to do that really quickly is with a service called Gitpod that will essentially spin up a virtual machine for me in the cloud that I can edit the code on. I happen to have a Gitpod plugin in my browser. It gives me a special Gitpod button here that I can just open this in Gitpod. So I could just click that and it would start. But I'll show you another way. If you don't have the Gitpod plugin, then at the beginning of the URL here in the address bar, I'm going to type gitpod.io /# hit enter, and I jump straight through to Gitpod, and it asks me, do I want to just spin up a new workspace? I have a Gitpod account. If you don't have a Gitpod account, you may have to create one using your GitHub details. Click continue. This part will take a couple of minutes for Gitpod to spin up a virtual machine in the cloud, and once that's ready, I'll be ready to edit. Okay, it's about 3 minutes later. My image on Gitpod, my virtual machine in the cloud, has been built, and right now Gitpod is busy starting that machine up for me. So I'll just be here working in my web browser, but I'm actually working in a computer that's sitting on the other side of the world. Pretty amazing. What we can see here is what's launched in my browser is a code editor, this one called VS Code, if you don't know it. On the left there, you can see the same files that we saw in the repository on GitHub just now, which has all the files for the Electric Book template and some template blank files that I'm going to add some content to. Right now, Gitpod is just running the last of the install steps, but you can see them running down here in the terminal area. That will be done in a few seconds. Once that's up and running, we'll be ready to work into the files. Okay, here we are, ready to go. I now have the files ready, I've got my terminal ready, time for me to add some content. Over in another tab here, I've gone to the very useful repository by Emil Schmidt called Classic Books Markdown. Lots of classic books in a Markdown format. And that is the format that we want to add our content into. Here I've got a book called The Time Traders by Andrew Ellis Norton, and I'm just going to use this text for this demo. Here to grab this text, I'm going to switch to the raw view of the Markdown text, which will give me just the text on its own. And I just want to grab chapter 1, so I'm going to quickly select chapter 1 here. There's chapter 2, so I'll go up to here, and I will copy that. Okay, that's copied. Let's go back in here. Now, I am going to add my content to the default book that's in this repository. A GitHub so an electric book project can hold any number of books, but the first one that's blank and ready for you is just called book. I'll open that up and we'll see how the book already has some files inside it, including these blank ones. The first one is o1.md standing for markdown, and I'm going to delete what's here and I'm going to paste in that markdown that I just copied from the Time Traders. I'm going to change this to say chapter 1. I'll leave the style there. I also don't want this to be a second level heading. I want it to be a first level heading. Okay, we've got chapter 1 ready to go. Gitpod already saves my file as I work. So everything gets saved as I work, which is great. Okay, one more thing. Let's put in some information about our book into the project data. Go into the data folder, go into the works, and you can see we've got two works, book and samples. Sample is a book that already exists in the template that's just filled with examples, samples of all the different kinds of things that you can do in the electric book template with a book. Right now we go working into the blank book template. Open book, and I'm going to open the default YAML file. So this is default information about my book. At the moment it's pretty empty. I know that this book is called The Time Traders, and that the author, I'll just go back here, is Andre Anderson. There we go. I got a book from M.L. Schmidt's Repo of Markdown Classics. Okay, that's done. We are ready to output our book and see what we get. Let's go down here into the terminal. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see a bit more. What we can see here, waiting for us in the terminal, is actually some instructions about the different commands we can run to the electric book template to make it output a book. Specifically, the command we're interested in is this output one. We're going to type, it says we should type npm run electric book -- output, and then followed by some options based on what we want to output. So in this particular case, I'm going to output a screen PDF of my default book. So what I'm going to type is npm run electric book -- output, format screen PDF, and the book I want is called book. That's the folder that we want to output. Great, hit enter. What's happening right now is that the template, specifically a piece of software in the template called Jekyll, is turning my markdown, the data I changed, and all the template files in the repository into a series of HTML files, and it has generated that as a PDF. You can see that it's already been output into my workspace, into the output folder as screen PDF. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to go and download the file myself. So I'll go to the output folder here. There's my screen PDF. I'm going to right click that and I'm going to download it. I'm going to open it with my default PDF editor. I use a default PDF reader called Sumatra. Open that. Here we go. Here's my PDF. And if I jump straight here to chapter 1, there we can see chapter 1 of the book we're working on. Okay, now that's outputting a PDF version of the book. Perhaps we want to output the book as a website. Let's see what that looks like. So we use very similar commands. Again, npm run electric book output, and this time, because we want to output a website, we actually don't need to add any more options because that's the default output. So I'm just going to hit enter, and again what's now happening is that the electric book template again is recreating the HTML from my markdown and my data, but this time instead of generating a PDF, it's going to build me a website and actually serve it for me so I can visit the website online right here in my browser. It'll usually take about 20 seconds to build everything up, spin up the server, and be ready for me to work in. Once that website version is up and running, then every time I make changes in my files, I can refresh the website and see the changes live as I work. Right, there we go. That's generated. You see that when Gitpod opens this up, it opens it as a special URL that we have to get by using this open browser button down in the bottom right. So I'm going to do that and it'll open it in a new tab. do have to remember that I have to add the words electric book on the end of my URL to see my book. There we go. Now, of course, this looks like the vanilla template because the vanilla template files are what we got when we made the original copy of the electric book template. Specifically, I want to go and see my book. So I'm going to go to the menu here. And look, I can see the time traders is right here. Great. Go to the time traders. Default placeholder cover image. In the documentation, you can see how to change that to your cover image. Click through to here and you can see the table of contents. And there's chapter 1 that we created earlier. And I'll go there. You can see here, we are reading chapter 1 of the time traders running in a website. That's it. We're up and running. From there, you can read a lot more about how the electric book template works, all the different things you can change, the way you can change design and cover images and the navigation menu, all kinds of other features. Of course, now that we've got our book here, we need to make sure we save our changes back to GitHub where we were working so that we can carry on working next time. Let's go back into our Gitpod interface here. And what we'll see is that this little source control tab has a 2 next to it, and that means there are 2 changes we've made, 2 files we've changed, and we need to commit those to version control so that they get saved in our GitHub account. What we can do, we write a message. So we say first edit to the time traders. And we want to commit those changes. No stages to commit. Would you like to stage all your changes and commit them directly? That's the easiest thing to do. Yes. So it'll take all my changes and it'll send them through to GitHub when I click sync changes. Click sync. Okay, that's fine. Okay, great. Now I know that when I go to back to GitHub, I'll be able to see exactly what I've changed. Let's go see what that looks like. I go to github.com/Arthur Attwell. And I look at my repositories. There's demo book today that I created today. I'll just go into that. And we'll see that if we go to the book folder here, when the page fully loads, I can see first edits to the time traders has been synced here. And I can see exactly what I changed in that particular session. I changed this data file, and here's the new markdown that I added. So everything is safely stored in my repository. And if I want to work on this again the next time, I can either go to gitpod.io and open the workspace I was in before, or I can, like I did before, go straight into the URL here, type gitpod.io/hash, hit enter, and I'll be right back into VS Code ready to edit my book. Great. Enjoy.